I'll do the intro here.
All right.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? Jeff Kiesel, Kiesel Guitars. And yeah, that's right. Bringing the heat with the 9-string. And I have my very special guest, Mr. Joshua Travis. You still on, brother? What's up? You there? I'll let you chat it up a little bit.
What's going on, y'all? I'm here. We're here. You see the thing sitting on the desk right now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it. Just look at. Yep. Go ahead, and grab it so they know it's real. Just go ahead and do it.
There we go. Check it out.
Very stoked about this. Very stoked. A whole lot of planning, and man, I don't know how many times we went back and forth with all of these things, but just look at this.
Yeah, so this
Look at
was
this thing.
a deal where a lot of people have been asking for a 9 for a long time, and much like anything else, right? I'm like, I'm not going to do it. There's not enough this, not enough that, or hey, it's going to take someone special, right? To make me want to drop the 9, and it wouldn't happen without you, man. So we would not be sitting here, and this is all because of you. So if anybody out there, you definitely have Josh to thank for this 9-string. It's
What's funny about that?
Him.
I'd say that's literally the complete other way around. Like, I have definitely played multiple 9-strings before, and there's always things that I'm like, if this was just and this was but I never gotten to do any of that until getting on the phone with Jeff, and he's like, okay, hold on. Let's go back to the beginning. And we went from like bridge material, fret wire. Like most of the time we always talk about wood. What kind of wood are we gonna It's always that. No. We were even having conversations about the nut, and things that even I was like, are we talking about this right now? Like, really? So aside from it being like another like massive learning experience, it was awesome to be sitting there with Jeff himself. Like, we're sitting here on Zoom or just on the phone, texting back and forth. What if we do this? What if we do this? What if we do this? And when you told me all of the different ones we were going to make, that it was like, I didn't even know how to react to it. I was just kind of like, wait a minute. So we're gonna like build like multiple versions of this to prototype it? And he's like, yeah, it's just the only way that it makes sense to do it. And they all showed up here, and I was like, beyond overwhelmed. Like, I wasn't gonna mention this, but I was so overwhelmed and so stoked, it brought tears to my eyes. I was looking at these things like, oh my gosh, like, this is actually like really happening. It was like the craziest thing ever. And like, look, you see it sitting right there. You see it. And that's one of the prototypes. That's one of them right there.
Yeah.
And I'm playing these things like, do you not remember me telling you? I was like, can I just like keep this and just like play it? Because it is sick. It's already sick. And like, you see the one Jeff's holding. Here's the one I'm holding. This thing, like, just look at these. Look at these. It's like you think these are the same guitar, but they're not. That's one of the prototypes. This is another one of the prototypes. So we now have Kiesel 9-strings. So you can't say we don't have this, we don't have that. It's a thing. It's a real thing. And
not just a real thing. You can order one right now on the Kiesel website. I mean,
right now.
Boom. They are live on the builder. You can virtually build your own 9-string right now. And like Josh is saying, with the prototyping, we were talking about scaling. That's the biggest deal. And so we didn't know what we wanted to make. So we made a 28, a 28 and a half, and a 29. And we did settle on the 29. So that is what's available, is the 29. We're not offering a 28, a 28 and a half, and a 29. Because like Josh said, they're prototypes. And so I have the 28 right here. And then Josh still has the 28 and a half and the 29.
Right.
And
right.
The 29 is, I'll let you talk about the 29 because, this has three too many strings for me. to hang with. So I'll let the expert talk, and I'll just shut up and enjoy the little
Well,
conversation.
it was smart the way Jeff wanted to do it. He wanted to do all of the scale lengths. I've always been a 30-inch player. Like, it's just what it's always been for me. Like, it always felt right. It always sounded right. My tension always worked out well. But I will say this: when I got my first 8-string from you, that solo, that scale on that guitar is 27 inches. So I remember talking to Chris. Chris is like, I'm going to send you this one right now. Check it out. Tell me how you feel. First thing I said to him is, what's the scale? So 27. And I was like, it's kind of short. It's kind of short for what I do. And Chris literally said, just try it. Just try it. I'm like, all right. Sends me the guitar. I put it in my Danza tuning. And this thing was like, I felt like I was playing the guitar, and it was like, what? What do you want me? What do you want to do? So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I see you. Then I'm like, there's an alternate tuning that it goes down a full step, so it actually goes from E to D. And I'm like, I'm gonna put it to the test. So I put it down in D, and I swear to you, this guitar just went, what? And I'm to the point where I'm like stopping and looking at it like, this is a 27-inch scale? I honestly couldn't believe what was happening. So right then, I'm not ruling out anything below a 30. I'm already at the point where it was like, I don't have to have a 30 to be able to get this low and still have good tension. I don't like high tension. I like moderate tension. I like to be able to bend around a step on every single string. So you can't really have crazy high tension and do that. You can't do that. Like, I can't anyways. It just hurts to try to bend that far. So when we started talking about the 9s and all these different scales, it's like, let's try a 28. And I couldn't help it. I was just, by default, I'm like, 28 sounds so short. It's like, let's just try a 28. And let's try a 28 and a half. And let's try 29. I'm stoked. So they all get here, and I'm just going back and forth with all of them, back and forth. And don't get me wrong, the 28 still holds it. Like, it's nothing. It holds it fine. The 28 and a half obviously holds it fine. The 29 was like, oh, this is like perfect. Because I still had crazy sustain. Because it's just slightly longer. Still an entire inch shorter than what I've always tried to use for like any kind of baritone instrument. I always want to have it be up around the 30 realm. And the 29, I think I was like kind of leaning that way at first before they even got here. But when I played the 28, there's something about it still like that. I will never say a 28 can't do it. I'll never say that. But there's like some cheat codes or something going on with your guitars, because like, I mean, there all of these things with this guitar are new for me. I always try to have neck through builds and crazy long, and this is like the exact opposite. And now having it like that, there's a reason that it's like that, because using these bolt-ons, there's a different communication and chemistry of tone, and it's going to make things a lot snappier, which the lower you tune, the more kind of like you get a little flubby, especially if you're using huge strings. Like, also, if you're getting really low in like, super low territory, don't use big strings. That's not good for your tone. It's not. Your tone just will not sound good. So what we're trying to do is counterbalance things. Where can I use the lightest strings possible and also have a scale where I'm not reaching into the atmosphere trying to actually tune this thing. So it wasn't like we just built it for me. That's not what we did. Any other guitar I've ever had built was only purpose built for me. I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be a guitar that was playable for anybody that wants to be able to play some kind of crazy instrument, like that you can get the most wild range. I mean, I go all the way from standard E to, I don't know what they call it, but like bass register A. So you have a crazy range here. So I just didn't want it to be something that was like so far out there that you can't tune it. Like, what if you're a very small person? You don't have a crazy long wingspan, right? So you can't reach to the end of the world to tune this thing.
Yeah.
So we brought the scale down, and even 1 inch makes a massive difference. I don't know why, but that 1 inch difference feels like 3. Like you don't reach, you
Yeah.
just tune, just like normal. And everything about it is just so sick. Even all the way down to the pickups. Like everything just, I'm like sitting here looking at you, the one that you have on your desk, and I'm like, I want that thing back.
Yeah, and I'll get it back
I
too.
want to just.
Yeah, I had to get this thing back because we wanted to do this live, and I wanted to have something here with me to show you guys as well. So we actually had to get it back because the only 3 in existence were all with Josh, and so I got this one back for the purpose of doing this live. And these are Kiesel pickups, so I had to make these ones. I'll share with these guys kind of what I had to do, but basically I had to cut pickups. I took 8-string pickups and took 4 poles from one bobbin and took 5 from another, and I bonded them together. We wound our own pickups, made our own plates to prototype these 3 guitars. Since then, what we've done is we've tooled up. So we had a mold made to have all of our own pickup bobbins made for 9-string. And these are our own parts. So they say Kiesel on them. There's little tricks you can do to the bobbin itself to actually change the sound. And I know that sounds crazy because it's a plastic bobbin, but what happens is there's voids you can do internally in the bobbin so that when you wax pot them, the wax flows in differently and it changes the sound of the pickup. So that's why our pickups are proprietary, is because they're our own bobbins. These are not other people's parts that we're utilizing. So what this one has is a lithium neck and a thorium bridge. Josh really liked the thorium, so sorry to take that away from you, buddy, because it was the only one I wound with the thorium. Figures too, right? So these are available. Lithium, thorium. We'll probably do the Empyrean, which is Scott Carcer signature pickup as well for the ceramic neck. Not planning on doing berylliums with this because this is more of like obviously a pissed off guitar. But we did tool up, so we are making the pickups ourselves. It's a hip shot bridge. The body is, as we've told you guys already in the video, if you watched it, is re-engineered, and by that, this upper horn area is longer and it's a little bit wider. And what that does is it puts the strap in the proper spot so that you don't have neck dive. I mean, you can see like if I'm holding it, it's wanting to just kind of actually tip upward, which is a big deal. And then of course the back of the body has to be recontoured for the different size horn. But everything and love in an Aries, but a 9-string version. And these are available, like I said, on the website, both right and left-handed. The deal with the 9-string is they are non-returnable instruments, and the reason for that is it's obviously a more limited market. So we're not going to build a custom 9 and allow someone to return it. So that is one little kind of thing. There's no 10-day trial period on them. Not that they're not badass and engineered and all that, but we just don't want to, build something, and if someone decides they don't want to play a 9 because they've never tried one out, we don't want to get, having to try to resell it. So, but everything else that and love, the dual carbon fiber rods, stainless frets, lumen lay side dots, quarter sawn necks, and they're on the builder. I haven't even seen them on the builder to play with them since they launched. I sent you that one screenshot teaser to mess with Josh because there's a build he wants to put in, so we're gonna build him something really dope.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, those are gonna be sick. Those are gonna be very sick.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm anxious to see how many people pull the trigger right away on these. It's something that people have been asking for a long time. And, when you look at the market out there, who else offers a high quality, affordable, customizable 9-string guitar? I can't name a single company.
I remember looking. I did spend a lot of time looking because once we actually started talking about doing this, I was like really, really curious, and like I've already seen like basically every one of them that every company has out there, and like honestly, I don't know who's gonna even come close to competing with that. So, you know, this is just it. Like I've played almost all of them. There's one, maybe it was, I feel like Schecter made one. I never got to play that one, but I think I have played everybody else's. Everybody else's, and like, and also had my own built, from like multiple people and companies, and like I can do the same thing here with this one. And this one is even so sick. Just holding it.
Yeah,
This
you
is
don't have that
one-handed.
neck
At
dive.
the
Yeah,
at the tip of the horn. Nothing. It doesn't move. It doesn't move. It's like you just put it on and she just stays right there. That's just it. And like, oh, the biggest thing. You ready for this? The biggest thing. Every 9 I've ever had in my life, ever, they are all so heavy. Like when you put them on, it's like, oh, all right, here we go with this. And like with basically all of your guitars, they are to me, scarily lightweight. That was the first thing I noticed when I picked the first one up. I was like, this thing weighs nothing. Like I could fling this all over the place. And then I played it, and it was one of those things again where I'm like, wait, what? How is this working like this? Why does this sound like this? Like, and it happens every guitar. Like any one of your guitars, they all feel awesome, and they're all like, you don't feel like you just put a body on your shoulders. You don't feel like that. So this was gonna. That was the one of the only things that I was like, okay, I can't wait to see what this weight is gonna be like. And I mean, I'm holding it at the tip of the horn with one hand. I'm using my thumb and my index finger.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, everybody will comment like when I go to shoot guitars and I hold them out, with one hand and I'm snapping pictures and stuff. They're like, "Man, you must be really strong." And I'm like, "Actually, the guitars aren't that heavy. I mean, I'm just chilling."
Right.
Just hanging right out here.
That's
with
like
this
a
thing.
very big thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're not heavy. I mean, of course, a 9 is going to be heavier than a 6 because, I mean, that's a lot of real estate on the back of that neck there. Little flame action in that neck.
Right.
But
yep.
Yeah, it's dope. Well, why don't we open it up for some people to ask some questions? Unless you have something else you want to add at the start of this. Obviously, we'll have some time to chat.
I mean,
towards the end.
I think we covered basically every aspect of this thing. Like, the pickups was a huge deal, and let's say open it up. I think we've gone through literally everything about this. Everything.
All right. So at this point in time, if you want to ask me or Josh anything, doesn't even have to be 9-string related. Ask away, and the guys will ask some questions, and he'll be able to hear you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Is it possible to get an Evertune on?
I don't know that Evertune makes a 9-string, so that's a great question. That's probably something for me to look into Evertune. I don't think they make a Evertune product for a 9.
Any plans to offer a fader as a 9-string?
So with its brand new 9-string, we are so stoked about it. And so what we don't want to do is we don't want to have you guys say, "Oh, that's cool, but I would buy it if it was a." So just don't be that guy. Just like let us have our day, and we're excited about this 9 and be stoked for us. And the way that we offer other 9-string models is this thing being successful. So let's not do the, "Hey, will you make this in a 9?" Because this is what we're making. We have no plans to make any other 9-strings at this point, and we are really stoked about this. So be stoked for us.
Scott Janser is asking, what are the standard strings on it?
Oh, shoot. What did we put on the 9th string? Do you remember what that was? Josh, you remember what the gauge was?
Yeah, these are, it's a tapered 88.
Okay, an 88. Okay. So yeah, it'd be our standard set, which on this we would probably put either 9s or 10s, probably 10s because it's not multi-scale. So we go 10 to 46, we would have a, I guess it's a 62, and then we go to a 70. It's either 70 or 74. It's still a 74. Okay, and then we would go up to the 86, 82, 86.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
88.
Oh, 88,
Yeah.
88. Okay, 88. And then that tuning goes F sharp to C sharp. So the 8 is a F sharp, and this would be a C sharp. Would be a normal 9-string tuning. That's not what Josh is using, but that would be a typical 9-string for the low string note.
Did you guys ever try
Yep.
multi?
And even with that strat,
What's that?
even with that set, that 88, I still go down to C, even though this is well, you were having it set up normally in C, and I take that same set and I take it down to A.
Yeah,
so even with that 88, it still takes it all the way down there. Yeah,
So
still
crazy.
takes it all the way down there. Yeah.
I guess if you took away the stream listening to, you let us know what he's done.
Oh, he's done talking.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Did you guys try multi-scale for the next?
No plans for a multi-scale. This is, again, seeing how this thing does will determine, what we do in the future. I'm pretty optimistic, knowing the quality we put out, the affordable price point, the total customization. I think, anybody that is really serious about playing a 9 has got to take a hard look at what we're doing. So I do think this model is going to do well, and how well it does will determine if we decide to take a look at a multi-scale, if we decide to do something in the future. Right now, this is it. We literally, like me and Josh have talked about it. This is the plan, and it's a great plan. It works awesome. Being a bolt-on, it has so much punch, and I think that was something that Josh was pretty surprised about, was how much punch this thing had.
Absolutely, 100%. All the way to the point where I don't know if I want many more neck through guitars anymore. I don't know if I will. Like the clarity, the sustain, the snappiness, how fast it is. Everything about it is just like, why have I not been playing bolt-ons forever? So this is like I said, I learned so many things doing this build with you that is like pretty game changing for me. So that's where we're at.
That's awesome.
All right. That guitar is really cool. Is it the Aries in that 9-string setup?
Yes, this is the Aries model, and the 9 is available as a bolt-on only. No plans to do a neck through, and I think a neck through would end up being pretty darn heavy because of how wide the neck would get down here, and so you have solid maple or walnut or whatever hardwood you decide to use. I think it would be pretty heavy. I think that's one of the reasons why it is so light, is because you don't have that neck through running through the body, and neck throughs, that material is a much harder wood, which is heavier, than the swamp ash that this one is made out
of. Can you repeat what these strings that this guitar comes with?
That's awesome. As I fumbled around and couldn't remember, so we're probably gonna go 10 to 46, 60, 74, and an 88 is about what they're gonna be.
Does the black 3-piece layer also go on the headstock on a K6, or is it just the body?
Yes, it does go on the headstock. Anytime you get a 3-piece body, if the model has a headstock, it's going to get it on the headstock too, underneath the, flame headstock overlay and in between the neck or whatever top wood you have, whatever matching headstock you have.
Mike is asking, what
they have
about
some
the
cool
build
questions.
do you attribute to the incredible clarity I heard in that demo?
Well, that'd be a good question for Josh.
Everything. If I was to sit here and turn this thing on right now, it's going to be exactly that. I don't have anything crazy going on in my patch. That's just one of those things I'm not really into, is like getting weird in your patch. So for instance, I'm just going to show you right now, real time. There it is. I don't have anything crazy going on here. It's just 100% live right now. This is just what this thing does. This is just what it sounds like. I'm literally running an AxeFX 3 direct right now. There's nothing going on. Just sounds like that. Like I'm not doing any trickery here. I swear to you, it is this guitar. It is this guitar sounding like this. All of the things that like I said before, like Jeff and I just sitting here and talking back and forth, and then we would be fine with something, and then Jeff would call the next day like, "Wait a minute, what about this?" And I'm sitting here like, tell me. And he doesn't just say do this; he explains it. Here's why you would want to think about doing something like this, and then here it is. And I saw somebody in my chat that was saying, like, it looks like it would be pretty hard to reach, in certain spots if you have, like, smaller hands. One thing I will say is on a 9-string, another thing we haven't really mentioned was how thin the necks are. Like, one thing that I am not into is, like, a C-shape neck. I'm not into those. C-shaped necks do not feel fast to me. They feel like baseball bats. Like, you really have to grip them, like you really got to put your hand on them a lot, and these aren't like that. These are, I feel, closer to a D neck. And the other side of that is on a 9-string, if you don't have really big hands, like I don't really have big hands. It may look like it, but I don't really have big hands. So what you end up doing, like for me, is rather than gripping the neck, I do this more than anything. I move around on the neck wherever it is that I need to be in, like, for whatever strings I'm using. Like if you're trying to get up high, don't just hold the whole neck, like kind of reposition how you're playing it. You got to treat it slightly differently because it's not super tiny. It's not. So you got to move around. But the thing is like, I know it sounds kind of crazy going from like, say from a 7 to a 9. And when you think about that transition, it's like kind of scary to even think about, like 7 to 9 or even 6 to 9. It's pretty crazy to think about. And I will tell you, my first 9-string ever, that was a freaking tree. Okay, like this thing was ginormous, and it took me about 2 weeks before I was like, okay, this feels like home now. And then when I start going back, I went back to an 8, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This feels like way easier to play now. And then you go to a 7, it's like even easier to play, like over and over. And now playing these are like as thin as, if not thinner than some of my other guitars. And this is a freaking 9-string. I'm telling you, they're just so fast, and the access, we'll just take it like I'm sitting. I know you can't see it, but I'm sitting on 1st fret right now, and you just like, no problem. I'm literally with this cutaway, I'm doing that is on the pickup. That's how much access, like, we're on the pickup. That's how much access you have on this. So you're not gonna go wrong with this. I say, and this is just me, this is the sickest 9-string on earth, period. Like, you're not gonna find one sicker than this. You won't.
It's awesome.
I said it, quote me.
That's rad. All right, guys, what else do you have for us?
Can you get the crescent moon inlay?
On the 9, I don't know. See about that one. It might look kind of small in there. I don't know.
How is the tuning stability on the 9-string?
Well, I have no experience with it, but I can tell you the necks are built the same exact way that we would build even a bass neck, and we have amazing tuning stability on our basses. Josh, you have any feedback as far as how well for the past several weeks these things have been staying in tune?
I've tuned it twice.
There you have it.
I've tuned it twice. You ready? Here it is. I'm not out of tune even right now. I've tuned this guitar twice. It's nothing. It's nothing. It never comes out. It just doesn't. And I bend the hell out of these strings, and it just doesn't come out. It just doesn't. I'm literally not kidding. This is literally the sickest 9-string on planet Earth. Period. This is it.
Damn.
This is it.
What do we got, guys?
What tuning?
Okay,
does
maybe
Josh have
3
the
times.
string?
Maybe 3 times. Oh Lord, this is
Okay,
the
that
funkiest A tuning, like E flat, A flat, G C, C again, 16 cents sharp. So you have natural chorusing anytime you use both 2 C's, and then you have D A D A. So basically, with the A's, I like to do octaves with those. The D's, I like to do octaves with those, and then try to figure out ways to do chords with them. And basically, that's what I really hope for anybody that gets one of these. I hope you just get gnarly with it and like make up your own tunings. Just get gnarly with it. Just do something that's like, unique to you. Like
Yeah.
I would really love to see something like that. Although playing in like, what is that, like standard C or something like that, like whatever the normal tuning is, that's still cool. Don't get me wrong. But I look at a guitar like this and I just see 9 voices. And I don't necessarily think like normal tuning. I don't see it like that. I see it like I can do weird things with all of these different voicings here. So that's why on the low end, I just have that octave A, octave D, and then you start splitting off into weird stuff. And then, you can't generally pick up a guitar like this and a tuning like this and just play anything from anybody. You can't really do that. But you can make your own stuff though. That's kind of like my whole thing with tunings, is just get gnarly with it. Just playing around with stuff.
That's awesome.
Any plans for new inlay options?
No, I mean, we'll see what the future brings. I mean, I'm sure something will come out at some point. But trying to keep the custom shop streamlined, of course. That's half of the battle here, is making sure that when we're offering things, it doesn't really put us in a tight spot. It's like, a long time ago, we would let people pick lightweight bodywoods, for example. And when we would do that, sometimes we'd have to forklift out like 4 pallets of wood, not even pallets, big bricks of wood, where they're 16 feet long, raw lumber billets. And, you're forklifting out, let's say $100,000 worth of wood, and then you're unstacking, a pallet to get someone a lightweight piece of wood. It could take an hour. Well, you're taking an hour for 2 guys that are responsible for 8 hours of production in a day. And people go, oh, well, what do those 2 guys make in an hour? Well, that's not what you pay. What you pay is my lack of efficiency for those 2 guys for an hour, which you don't want to know what that price is. So we had to stop doing stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, we'd charge someone $200 for a lightweight piece of wood, and we would cost ourselves $5,000 or $10,000 while we're doing it. It's pretty ridiculous. So some things like that we just can't do anymore. Just looking at cost effectiveness, because that's how busy we are.
Any special adjustments you have to think about with 9-string pickups?
No, actually, I mean, a pickup's a pickup. So there's no adjustments. I mean, there's math that we use when we go from a 6 to a 7 and from a 7 to an 8. And I had to come up with the math from a 8 to a 9. And it's the way you do the winding so that the pickup has the right sound. You don't just take, what you do on a 6 and do that on an 8. Just like you wouldn't take what you do on an 8 and do on a 9. So there is some math there, but after some trial and error and figuring it out, I mean, these pickups sound badass. They sound like what you would expect a lithium to sound like. And I remember having that conversation with Josh. He was like, what are these pickups? And you were like so pumped on the pickups. And at first we weren't going to make pickups, but you were so excited about our 8-string pickups. You're like, can you make pickups? And I'm like, yeah, I can make pickups. And I'm thinking about like all the tool up costs, to make a mold like this, to do a 2-piece mold, to make your own pickups, it's $10,000. That's what that costs us to make our own pickups for the 9-string.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Josh is excited about it. Let's just do it. We'll go all in. And so we actually tooled up. We've ordered all the parts, and we're going to have our first shipment of the bobbins in about 3-4 weeks. We'll have them here, and then we'll have our normal supply in about 16 weeks, full supply of enough to make 500 guitars.
Dang.
So y'all better be buying some damn pickups.
You never did.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I mean, when you told me that's what you wanted, for me, I would prefer to make my own pickups. Just the hardest thing for us is it's not that I don't think other pickups are good. It's dealing with other companies. I mean, there's been several times when I've built guitars and I had to in like a short period of time, let's say 2 weeks. And, for an artist getting ready to go on tour or whatever it is, and we'll reach out to the pickup company the same day the artist placed the order with me, and I'm getting an off the shelf pickup. So I reach out to whatever company, I'm not naming any names, big boy pickup companies, and say, hey, I need these pickups in 8 days. And guess what? I'm done with the guitar within, 8-9 days, and I have no pickups, and the guitars will be delayed a week or two beyond. So here I can build a full guitar from the start to finish, but they can't send me a set of stock pickups within, even 2-3 weeks. It's crazy. And that's not every company, but we've dealt with that. And it sucks when you're holding up someone's guitar they're desperately waiting for because you don't have pickups. We had a multi-scale thing where for a while we were offering other brand pickups, and I had guitars sitting here. I had about 5 guitars sitting here. This is when we were quoting, 10 weeks for build times. And I ordered all the pickups the day we got the guitar orders. And they sat here. I had one guy waiting for like almost 6 months for pickups. It's ridiculous. You can't be doing that to people. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does suck. So, being able to build your own pickups is an advantage for us because we're not waiting on anybody. It's an advantage for the customer, provided they like them. It's an advantage for the customer. And then you also don't have that extra price point, right? Because, for a long time we had that stigma, when we were carving, that you got one of the guitars and first thing you had to do was spend $300 or $400 on a set of pickups. And I wanted to fix that, and so I just worked until I didn't like any other brand more than what we had made. And of course, that's my opinion. But I was in agreement with the other people that, man, these pickups, a lot of them needed to be swapped out. And when developing the lithiums, in my opinion, they're the best sounding pickup on the market, period. And I didn't feel that way before. So it's hard to, really get excited about something, even when, it's your company and you're the person. I'm just that type of person where I need to believe in it. Like the carbon fiber rods in the neck, I was tired of doing neck adjustments on my own guitars. They're hanging on the wall. I don't put them in cases. And I'd pick it up. Oh, got to do a neck adjustment. Well, I only have 5 or 10 minutes to play. And so now I'm going to go find my truss rod wrench and I'm going to do a neck adjustment. No. So that's why these guitars all got dual carbon fiber rod standard. I was just over it. And I didn't want anybody else to be in that situation. And so it's about us building it so much better over the years and, a long time, developing the product to be what it is today. Where, like Josh is saying, he's tuned the guitar 3 times. Here's a 9-string, so much tension on that neck. He's tuned it 3 times in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long you've had them.
Yep. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Yeah. So anyway, all right. What's the next question?
I don't have to because I know it's going to be in tune, so I know it's going to be.
Joshua, what aspect about the Kiesel 9-string are you most excited about?
Ooh, that's a hard one. There's too many of them. Like literally, there's too many. Like the ones, like these being the prototypes, I'm only going to give you something about the prototypes, but like the bevels, there's too many aspects. Like there's too many of them, like all the way from just how it feels when it's on you. Like you have there's like a different type of connection here. Like, and I don't know if that goes back again to the bolt-on or something, but you like feel it in you when you play these things. Like they just, I even remember saying something about like the frets. Like the actual spacing of the frets. Everything about it's so dumb because I keep repeating myself, but like this thing is stupid. Like it doesn't even make sense how sick it is. Like I have huge fat fingers, like crazy fat fingers, and like I can just. I know you can't hear that, but there's no problem like ever, and the spacing of the frets alone, like it just. It's like a cheat code on a 9-string. It like literally is. It's just there's too many things about it that are like so great. Like again, the neck, the profile of this neck, it is like it's so fast. It's like it's just so fast. It's so thin. Like it's literally thin like man, what would you even compare the thinness of this to? And this I don't even think this is the thinnest one. I think you have the thinnest one.
Yep.
And this is still super thin. And the actual profile that we're gonna use is the one that Jeff has.
Yep.
And even this one is crazy thin. And that one's even thinner. And like that's like a big thing. I feel like you lose like a lot of I don't even know what to call this, but it's easy to tire out your hand when you have such a massive neck and you have all this crazy high tension and you're trying to whip around on it. But these aren't like that. Like I wanted to not be like super high tension. If you want it, you can just beef up your gauges and deal with that. But I don't want. I want it to play like butter. I want it to be super smooth. And that's what we got. And this isn't even the thinnest neck. I forgot about that. I thought I had the thinnest neck, and I don't. I just remembered now. You do. And, like, even this one is crazy thin. But that, and then, again, going back to the pickups, I'm very particular about my tone. And so, trying out a brand new set of pickups, I've been wanting to play passive pickups again for a while. But, I was, kind of like, well, all right, I guess we'll see how these things sound. And they are just, I don't even have the right word for the sound of these pickups. Like, I don't have the right word, but just, there you go. I don't have to have a word for it because here, you tell me what you think how you would describe this. I don't know what you call that. Ridiculous? Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. The articulation you get out of these. And then, dude, being able to get dynamic, like, come on. And then still be able to, right there. The pickups, there's too many, I'm not doing this. There's too many things that I'm like, I'm stoked. Like, there's too many things. There's just, you pick one. You have to pick one for me, and I'll tell you why I'm stoked on that one particular thing. Because there's literally everything, all the way to the tuners. Every single thing about this guitar is like the sickest. I mean, just look at it.
Yeah. And see, that's what we wanted, when we work with somebody. It's like we want to make sure, and especially Josh is the authority on 9-strings. And it was like I wanted you to be stoked, and that's what the whole conversation revolved around. I'm like, look, you need to tell me what we're doing. And so when we built these prototypes, something that, you touched on a second ago is I gave him 3 different necks. So each one had a different feel. And he picked which neck he liked the feel of, the thickness of, and the feeling and the contour on the back. And that was this one. That's why it's back here. We've already copied it digitally. And so that is, all of the necks are based off of this one here now, even though they're going to be 29-inch scale. So that was another aspect to this. All of them had the same bodywood, same fretboard, same neck. So they would all, feel and basically sound the same. This one had the thorium bridge pickup, and the other 2 had the lithium bridge pickup. And I just threw the thorium in there. Look, dude, I know you love the lithiums. Just try this. See what you think. And it was like, oh yeah, that, yes, please. You know, like, can I have all of my guitars with that pickup? That's what you asked. You were like, one problem.
Literally.
Yep. Can I have all of my guitars with that pickup? I'm like, of course you can, dude. Like, no problem.
Yep.
So, and
Do you remember how much I was like, I hate to say this, but is there any way that we can put that pickup in all of my guitars?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No,
that thing rules.
I thought it'd be a good fit
I love
for
that
you.
pickup.
Yeah, it's an awesome pickup. I thought it'd be a really good fit for you, and taking a little bit of a chance on that. But what a fun project this has been. Even down to like the headstock, just thinking about details. Normally on a headstock like this, if you started up here, you would typically finish up here, but we wanted the headstock to be tilted like this, so we started higher and ended even higher. So every little detail on even the headstock design, because it does affect everything. We didn't want the tuner down here because we wanted enough room for it to come off and kind of wrap around on your low string. So thinking about every little detail, and these are the prototypes, and so to be able to put something out that already is like doing so well and feels so good and not needing to make any changes on the guitar was really cool. But it's been such a fun project.
I can't wait to get that thing back in my hands. Dude, that pickup is so gnarly.
And get you some
can't
customs.
wait for that.
We gotta get you like what you wanted, because these are just builds I put in, like just something that I thought would look cool, and obviously we'll get you some custom builds, and that'll be the big deal right there. But all right, so what's the next questions, guys?
Yep.
Is the 9-string available on the website?
The 9 is on the website. Yeah, you go to the Aries and go to the virtual builder and select a 9-string option, and you can build one from there virtually and see it, and then make sure you click that check out button and put one in your cart. Be one of the first.
What is the fingerboard on the one next to Jeff? Is that roasted maple or something else?
Yes, it's roasted plain maple.
Hey Jeff, what was your favorite part of designing the 9-string?
Honestly, meeting Josh and hanging out, and just getting to know him and spending that time on, on Zoom, and the phone calls and the texts and stuff, and then his reaction and him getting excited. That is fun, because I get excited and it's neat for me, but I've done so many projects, and it's not that I don't continually get excited, but to see someone else on the other end of this get so excited and so, thankful and grateful and everything, it was just, that was the most fun for me, and this project would not have happened without him. I was not going to do this, but when we had the opportunity to work together, and that's thanks to Chris Johnson, our AR guy, just talking to him and, sending Josh guitars, and he's trying them out and he's loving them. And when I found out what was going on, and, through a conversation with Chris, I was like, oh, Josh Travis, I will absolutely make a 9-string for him. He's like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah. So he told Josh, and then me and Josh started talking, and it was just like, I was stoked that, and I didn't know that we were even, at first, didn't even know we were talking to Josh. I'm not involved in everything, especially on the initial conversations, because so many conversations happen and you got to see where they go, and they don't want to get me excited about things if it doesn't look promising. And, I found out, and I was like, obviously super stoked. And, so yeah, it was really cool. So it would be Josh would be the most exciting thing about the 9.
Scott,
I'm all blushing over here. Come on.
Says, looks killer. Jeff always kills it.
What's up, Scott? Scott's in the feed here. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Hell
That's the
yeah.
homie.
That's
I
it.
remember one of the first pictures I saw was Scott holding it.
That's right. Yeah, Scott was down here hanging out.
That's
and
awesome.
I sent you a picture of him holding it. And it, Scott is such a a big dude that it doesn't even look like a 9-string when he's holding it, right? But it looks like a normal size guitar
great.
for that large human.
Right.
What pickups will come standard on the
man.
9-string?
Standard pickups are going to be lithium, neck, and bridge, with an optional thorium for the bridge, and probably the Empyrean, Scott's signature pickup for the neck. We're starting to offer the Empyrean in 6. Of course, it was in 7 already, 8, and I believe we're going to do it in a 9.
Jeff, how's your dad seen
Well,
this?
you shouldn't have told me that, because now I need that.
Thinks about guitars getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, my dad he saw this and he was like, "Are you sure you want to make a 9-string?" But my dad was like, "Are you sure you want to make a headless Vader? Are you sure you want to carve out that much wood on this model that was an Aries at the time?" He's said, "Are you sure?" on a lot of things, and he's tried to talk me into being a lot more conservative. Because my dad was very conservative, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm, willing to do, I would say, more calculated risks, and I feel like, we're putting ourselves out there in the best possible way. It's a customizable 9 with, the best possible person that could be representing our 9-string. So there's no risk there.
Thank you for being so kind. That's like super awesome of you to say.
I'm just honest, brother. So was that?
Is there a Kiesel case that will fit this beast?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in the soft case, right? Or normal soft case, or did we do them in base cases?
I think we did the soft case, base case.
Base soft case. Okay.
Were all the models sent to Josh chambered?
None of them are chambered, actually. They're all just swamp ash bodies. There's no tops on them, so without a top, you can't chamber a guitar.
Does a signature guitar come set up exactly like the artist's specs?
Not necessarily, no. Mm-mm.
I'm just curious for myself. Can it become chambered?
Yeah, we can do chambering on them. Yeah. Zach wanted to know. That's awesome. You thinking about ordering a 9?
Yeah.
Will the 9-string have all the same wood options as the rest of the Aries guitars?
Almost. So two options that we cannot do are bird's eye maple fretboards and roasted bird's eye maple, because I don't actually have bird's eye maple this wide. I don't have any here. So we can't do the bird's eye boards. I believe we're not doing flamed maple necks. And the reason why is just stability reasons. As far as body woods, I would not recommend doing walnut, doing something really heavy. And I think that's really it that I can think of off the top of my head right now. We did release Richlite fingerboards, which is pure black. It's a man-made product. We did a kind of a little not promo, but we kind of announced that last week, and we could do Richlite on these, which is pure black, which is kind of a cool thing.
Travis, loved your work on the Royal 1000. Super cool guitar too.
Nice. Thank you. I get to play some of those songs on these guitars, so that's fun.
Hell yeah.
Will 29-inch scale be available on any other models?
Nope. This is the only 29, and actually the conversations originally started around a 30. Because we already offer a 30-inch scale for our headless short scale basses, the Vader. And so I was like, yeah, we can make a 30, that's no problem. And then when he got the 8s, and they were a full inch shorter than he normally needs for 8 strings, and was like, these things are awesome. And he came back, was like, I don't want anything bigger than a 29, because your guitars have so much more stability and string tension, because the necks don't flop around. The necks are so stout in these guitars, and a lot of guitars are flexing and moving, and that's why you need a lot more scaling. Our necks are not moving around. And so the idea was, let's make it as short as we can possibly get away with and still have the proper tension. And so that's why we went 29, 28 and a half, and 28, just to see, could we make a 28 even work? And the 29 was the winner.
Probably gonna end on this question or comment. Brian Elwick says Kiesel necks are incredibly stable. Really set the standard for what stability should be.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. Well,
Not
everybody,
wrong.
thanks for hanging out with us. Josh, where can they find out, more about you and what you're doing? Let's give you a chance to kind of plug what you're doing right now.
I spend most of my time streaming on Twitch, and you can find me there at twitch.tv/the Joshua Travis. I'm using these things all the time, and now I'll actually be able to start using the nines publicly now. And yes, the nines are now public. You can literally go to the Kiesel website and put it together. Do it. They are available to the public. I see a bunch of people asking about that in the chat here, and yeah, they are available. So put it together how you want, Just was the straight frets a deliberate choice? Yes, I did not want multi-scale. I can see how multi-scale can work for some people, maybe more in the shredder world, which is not really what I do. I'm really more into rhythm and getting weird with rhythm, lots of chords, things like that. And there's really no time that I find myself naturally leaning this way when I'm playing chords down low. I don't ever go out that way. I could potentially see it because I know there's other ways to do multi-scale where you don't really fan from way down on the neck. You start a little further up and then push the fan this way only. So but I've never tried anything like that before. So I'm not going to say no, I'd never do it. I also said I would never play a headless guitar, and that's about to change. I got to just try it just to see. I'm going to try. We're going to try it. Chris showed me one. He was like, "You're trying this." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do it." I don't know what it is about me, but when I look over and I see this nine and imagine it with no headstock, I'm like, "Where's my headstock?"
Yeah. I'm with you on
where's
this
my
guitar.
headstock?
I'm totally with you.
It's like
Yeah. And we did have a few comments.
I'm definitely interested to see.
We did have a few comments about headless
Go ahead.
9-string, and there's no hardware that even exists. So I don't see a headless variant of this, or headless coming out at all. I haven't even spoke with Hipshot about it. Obviously, they know I have their bridge.
Yeah.
They sent me some bridges. Josh, what days do you stream?
Right now we're doing Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, and then Friday is at 9 p.m. Central Time. So that's majority of the time that we stream. Sometimes we get wild and just throw extra ones in there. And we've been doing some wild stuff. We're doing new metal Thursdays, where the only thing we play on Thursday is new metal. Period. We don't play anything else. Strictly new metal. Then on Tuesdays, I usually have I call it band practice, where I play basically anything that I need to be fresh with for touring. And then sometimes we get wild and I start playing Danza stuff, start playing Glass Cloud stuff. I play all of my solo stuff, and that's a whole other thing. I have all of this solo material coming out right now, and I'm getting to stream all that. So, and then sometimes we just play whatever people want to hear. I think the other day we played Garth Brooks. It was sick.
That's awesome. So yeah, be sure to log on. Hit the subscribe button for Josh, and make sure you're checking out those streams for him and checking out the 9 in action. Of course, if you guys have questions, hit up my guys, 858 Guitars. If you have questions about the 9, it is on the builder. You can virtually build one. And I think on that note, we're going to sign off. I just want to thank you guys and gals for hanging out here, watching this, supporting what we do. Can't thank you enough. I know there's a lot of people that are finally hip to doing this content. We've been doing this content since 2012 with you guys. So 10 years now of doing content with you guys and for you guys. So thanks for keeping it real with us. And on that note, I'm out. Josh, I guess you're going to sign out too.
Yeah, we're out of here. Yo, thank you so much for having me. And you already know where I'm at with the 9s. I don't even know what to say here. This thing is insane.
That's awesome.
So yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. Stoked you're part of the family. Stoked we can finally announce this. Such big and exciting news.
Yeah.
And I look forward to you finally getting out here and hanging at the Kiesel pad.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Hell yeah. You guys have a good one. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right, later.
Oh, Josh, you're still on? No, he's off. Oh,